I felt that I learned best from innovative minds. So I started, searching those minds. I started searching for mentors and mentorship. And that led me to becoming a professional network marketer and an author and a podcaster, as you already said.
Welcome to SocTalks.com, where inspiring authors, speakers, and masterminds share their stories with you. Let their stories ignite your passion, accelerate you on your path, and annihilate your limiting beliefs. Now, here's your host for SocTalks.com, Socrates Zayas.
Listen, you guys are in for a treat today. We are back in the studio again to talk to my incredible guest, Socrates Zayas. Welcome to the show, Socrates.
Boom! Hey, let me tell you something. I'm so excited here to be with the most beautiful woman on the internet radio sensation, showmanship, personality circuit thing. I don't know what to call it. It's just, she's awesome. I love it. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Socrates, we have a motto here at the Success Stalkers show, and that is, until you become successful, stalk those who already are. So can we stalk you today?
Oh, stalk away.
Thank you. What native of Cuba, Socrates Zayas, affectionately called DocSoc, is a proud former Marine, entrepreneur, podcaster, and professional network marketer. He is the founder of SocTalks.com and author of Socrates Level Marketing. Ignite your passion, accelerate your journey, and annihilate your limiting beliefs.
Boom! One more time.
Yes, love it. Well, Socrates, take a minute, fill in some of the gaps to that intro and give us a little more insight to you personally.
Well, as you said, I am not even a first generation American, okay? I am a zero generation American. I came at the age of about, 4 or 5, something like that, in the 70s to the United States. My parents were educated in Cuba. My father was a physician, my mother a nurse practitioner. But shortly after we got to the States, my dad and my mom kind of went separate ways. So my mom was a single parent. Okay. So for the 40 years of 46 years of my life that I was with her, after we were in this country, it was just me and my mom.
Okay.
So she had a hard time. I was that kid. I was that impetuous child. I was that kid that you couldn't control. I was just tough all the time. I was always getting into trouble and things like that. And but I was always curious. I was very smart. And with a name like Socrates, every time it's really funny. Teachers never allowed me to be anything but smart.
That's good.
Which was a blessing. I didn't know it at the time because I also had to become a decent fighter because I always got attacked by other kids because kids are so evil.
Yes,
right?
They can be.
But teachers were like, hey, you know who your name is, who your namesake is. You should read this. You should do this. You should be this. You should do that. And it's helped out. And over time, I just I just wanted to be, I knew it was something better for me out there and that I wanted to stand for something, which is what led me to the Marine Corps. And, I was there for a few years and got out. And when I got out, I came back to the same relationships that I had, which weren't great.
Right.
My mom always told me that, tell me who you hang around with and I'll tell you who you are. Right. And,
smart.
It's, to me, that was just a parent talking to a kid, from, an old person telling you stuff.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything, right? But it did mean something because I went back to the same old, friends, same old habits, and I ended up getting arrested.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of me realizing that I needed to do, I need to be different because I was different and I needed to be different. So after that happened, I really embraced education. I became a dual major scientist, biology and chemistry. I became a geneticist. I worked on infectious diseases. Okay. Then the money wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. So I ended up in software. worked in the corporate 500 and then eventually 100 companies, and traveled the world. And that led me to a very disappointing reality, is that once you're the most comfortable, when you're making the most money, and you think that it's never going to go away, that it can easily be taken away, and
So
it
true.
was taken away, and I fell into network marketing, and now I'm an advocate for network marketing. That's what I do. I'm an advocate for the network marketing industry. I struggled with exactly what I needed to know, despite having successful people in my, what they call the upline, which are people that are above me.
Right.
Because I learned that, through being in this industry, that it turns out that many of them just didn't know how they succeeded. They just fell in a pile of, brown stuff, and they came out smelling like roses.
Right.
And I felt that I learned best from innovative minds.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, searching those minds. I started searching for mentors and mentorship. And that led me to becoming a professional network marketer and an author and a podcaster, as you already said. And I thought that's it. I think that puts it in a nutshell.
Well, that is just amazing. You are such a fascinating person. What an amazing story and journey you've had so far. The best is still yet to come, I'm sure.
Oh, it sure is.
We're just getting started, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Socrates, we're going to dive even deeper in your journey in just a few minutes. But before we do you have a favorite success quote that really inspires you?
Oh my gosh, a favorite success quote. I've got many. Okay, so do you just need one, or can I rattle off a couple? Of them?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Well, you know what? Don't wish it's easier. Wish that you were better.
That's a good one. Period.
Okay, and that comes from Jim Rohn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in fact, these are all going to be Jim Rohn ones, because I'm a big fan of his. He's the mentor for Anthony Robbins, and a lot of different people in many different industries. But in my industry, it works really well. An affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. That's one of my favorite ones. And let's leave it at that right there.
Good.
An affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. And I think that goes really well with the way that the world is going today, where people are constantly saying, oh no, you need to be positive, you need to give yourself affirmations in the morning and all this other stuff, but yet they don't follow it up. Right. They don't have the discipline. And that word, discipline, is the secret sauce.
Yes, it is. I was going to ask, how has, one of those quotes that, really impacted you on your journey?
Well, both of those quotes actually have impacted me, because this has not been easy. People think that being in this industry is like buying a lottery ticket, where you get involved, and all of a sudden you sit back and everybody wants to join you, and all of a sudden the money starts rolling in, and you don't have to do any work other than smile and be cute. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't work. Right. It doesn't. There is really a lot of hard work, a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Self-education that you need to go through. Mm-hmm. to actually be the best that you can, and not just this, in every industry it's the same thing.
And personally grow.
I mean,
personal development.
Personal growth. Personal development. That's what I was thinking about, right? So personal development needs to be there, and as I was saying, not just this industry, but any industry, right? Because you could be working for a pharmacy. You want to be the best pharmacist. You better get there a little bit earlier. You better stay a little later, just to make sure that you're on top of things. The same thing here in this particular industry.
Right, because it takes an incredible amount of mental toughness to do what we do. Even especially network marketing. So you have to be personal. You have to personally develop yourself every day.
Yeah. So I don't want it to be easy. I just want to be better.
Yes.
I want to speak better. I want to introduce myself better. I want to walk into a room better. I want people to love me better, and I want them to hate me better too. Because that just strengthens everything else, right? So I love my haters.
Me too.
So
I love your
really
philosophy. I love your
No, it's great. It's awesome. And then an affirmation without discipline is a big one for me, because if you I don't care how much you say, oh, I'm amazing, I'm great, I've got a big car outside. I don't, if you don't go out and do the principles, if you don't do the core principles, it's never, you're never gonna have a beautiful car outside. That's You're never gonna live in a better house. I don't care how
much you say,
how many times you say it. It's just not gonna happen. Oh, you could do all the ohms you want.
Right, it's not happening.
What's that? It reminds me of a story. So there's this man. This is a joke for your listeners. Mm-hmm. Okay, listeners, listen. So there's this man, right? He's floating in the ocean, right? He's drowning actually, and he begins to pray. Right? He's like, oh Lord, please send me, deliver me from this tribulation. And a hot air balloon comes by. He says, hey, you need any help? Throw down a ladder for you. Guy says, no, the Lord will provide. Right? Guy keeps, praying, saying this affirmations and stuff, Lord, please deliver me from this. Come on, God, you can help me. Right? All of a sudden, a cruise ship, a liner, comes out of nowhere. Boom. Hey, the guy does it. You need any help? The guy says, no, the Lord will provide. I got this. The Lord's got this. The guy goes, leaves, right?
Right. And
finally, the guy's still treading water. He's doing his prayers. Father, please help me. A submarine pops up next to this guy. Boom, right? And the guy pops up, opens the top of the submarine, says to the guy, "Hey, we saw you on Periscope. Can we give you a hand here? Can you need some help?" He goes, No, the Lord will provide. Mm-mm. Right? Well, the guy drowns. Right, shortly after that, and he goes to heaven, right, and he's at heaven, and he gets there, and he's talking to the Lord, and he says to the Lord, he goes, Lord, I believed in you so faithfully, so strongly. I said, how come you didn't save me? He goes, what do you think the hot air balloon was? What do you think the steam cruise was? What do you think that submarine was? Are you kidding me? And the point is, sometimes it's right there, right? It's really simple, right? The things that you need to do.
So true.
But you just miss it because you have a limiting belief.
Right. That's so true. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Even religion can be a limiting belief.
That's so true. You're right. You're absolutely right. Wow. That just gave me so many. I actually saw that in my mind when you were just, telling that joke. And it's so true. We sometimes look for things to be our saving grace and different things. And it's just right there in front of us. And we're looking all around it, but it's just right there in front of us. So I'm so glad you said that. Glad to share that. Thank you. Well, Socrates, here at the Success Stalker Show, our goal is to bring on amazing guests like yourself. And, the reason we do that is because you've obviously had successes, but we want to talk about, the road that's not so smooth, because the road to success is not a smooth one. So can you take us to a time maybe on that road where you say hit some huge bumps, or had a time where you experienced, say, a possible failure?
Well, that's the biggest failure. Okay, let's start there with the pivoting point, the precipice, if you will. Okay, the precipice, and listener, if you don't know what a precipice is, don't Google it. I'm about to tell you. Okay, so right, so it's when you get to the edge of the mountain and you are about to fall off. What do you do? I mean, you're about to fall off. There's a landslide behind you. There's a gorilla. There's an elephant. There's an animal. There's a tornado behind you, and you have to do something because otherwise you're going to fall off. I was at that precipice of destruction, self-destruction, right? Mm-hmm. And that was back in 1989, and that was when I was arrested. I was arrested for narcotics. Mm-hmm. Right. And I was just freshly out of the Marine Corps, and I was hanging out with some friends, and there was an easy way to make some money. And I participated in this stuff, and I didn't realize that at that time that's called a conspiracy to commit a crime, right? For me, it was just like, it's an easy way to make a couple $1,000s to go to Disney. And it turned out that it was a sting. and I was arrested, and and I found myself in a dark place at that time. I was like, oh my gosh, here I am, and I was relatively a good kid,
Right.
that was just hanging out with the wrong people and made the wrong choice. Now, I'm not saying this to validate that it's not my fault. Okay, listen very closely, listener. I made the choice, okay, to commit a crime, okay, and I realized that. And I also made the choice to take that blame and be guilty for that. Okay. And because I did that, right, and the truth will set you free. Because I did that, the prosecution at the time said, okay, you are an idiot. Okay. You did have a decent, upbringing and a life. Okay, so because of that, we're not going to incarcerate you, but you are going to have to plead guilty to the crime. Okay, and hold that on your record for the rest of your life. And I was like, well, I can live with that. Okay, so I signed the paper, and I didn't have to go to prison, but I do still have on my record a conviction for narcotics. All right. So how did that affect me? Okay. Well, and why was that a failure? Well, that was a failure moment because I failed my parents. Okay. And my mom. I failed my mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything that she taught me in my life, everything that she taught me how to be and how to avoid, I, in an instant, shat on. Okay. That was the biggest, realization for me that none of that was worth it. Doing illegal things were not worth it to me because of the pain that I put on that woman who had given everything, all her life energy to doing nothing but making sure that I was educated, that I had clean clothes, that I was ironed, and that I was polite, and that I was I was just a good human being.
Right.
And in an instant, I wasn't.
Yeah.
And imagine how she must have felt.
I can only imagine.
Okay. All right. So while I was going through that ordeal, somebody, a guard in there, brought me a book called Power Within. All right. And that was Anthony Robbins' first book. Okay.
Wow.
That book basically said that I could do anything that I set my mind to. That all I had to do was just do it, and I could do it right now. That I didn't have to go through suffering. I didn't have to go through failures if I just if I mimicked, or if I copied, if I stalked, right? If I stalked successful people. So I did. I started to do that. The moment that I was released from jail, I enrolled at the junior college. Associated myself with a mentor there at the school. His name is Harold Jaffa. I'll never forget him. I love him very much. Him and his wife, Rosma, were my chemistry instructors. I never knew they were married, by the way, for years until I realized that they were actually married. And so it's really funny. I had two mentors at the college that were married, and they were both my mentors, and I didn't have a clue.
Amazing.
That's weird, right?
Amazing.
That's the universe. That's the universe. The universe is really weird.
Wow.
And they were both chemistry instructors. And the funny part was that they taught me everything that I needed to do to educate myself. And that led to me going back to University of Miami, where I played football for a year till I got hurt, and that led to me getting a academic scholarship at Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida, and that led to a dual degree in biology and chemistry, and that led to going to Georgia Medical College, where and it just kept leading up to that, and all because of a book, right? All because a book that I read, and along the way, I got 5 black belts, and I had a son, and my life was just flourishing, because I was just applying one or two principles. I mean, imagine if I had applied all the principles, but I was only applying one or two of them.
Wow.
And so that failure moment, that moment of that precipice where I was totally destroyed by my actions, my personal choices, my personal bad choices, led me to not want to hurt people anymore, especially my parent, my mom. You know, I didn't want to hurt my mom anymore. I didn't, I wasn't good at crime. I'm trying to get at, right? So my failure moments have always led to a precipice of true, unadulterated embarrassment for me. Okay. And that has led to me, elevating to a different level. So I don't cheat. I don't lie. Okay. And and I don't do criminal things. Right. I just don't. It just doesn't work for me. Okay.
Just not good at it.
Just not good at it. So I mean, if a listener, if you're a good criminal, then close.
Good luck. Oh, wow. Well, Socrates, let's go forward. I mean, I talked about your failures, but let's talk about, let's say that aha moment. Was it the time that you got the book when you were in jail? Would that be your aha moment that you had that has catapulted you into success? Or are there any other aha moments that you could share with us?
Yeah, the aha moment, and it all stems from that one time that I was in jail. We all jump in a time machine now, right? Okay, so all listener, you're jumping in a time machine with me.
Love it.
So we went from 1989. Now we're in 2009. Okay, and I'm living a great life. A super high 6-figure number. And I'm in software and coming in to the country from one of my trips. I get stopped by the new Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement, because this is after 2011. I mean, right? Okay. I mean, 2001, September 11th, right? And so the guy stops me at the front at the customs and asks me. He says, "So you had this arrest in '89?" I said, "Yes, 20 years ago." And he goes, "Yeah, you never went before an immigration judge." And I was like, "And what does that have to do with me and the price of tea in China?"
Right.
And he goes, "Well, they made a law change and they made it retroactive where anybody who had a drug charge is now deportable."
What?
Yes. Okay. So to make a long story short, I went through removal proceedings from this country. Okay. And ultimately, I was detained by Immigration, Customs, and law enforcement for 10 months.
Wow.
Okay. And in that detainment, I obviously, your bills don't stop. Life doesn't stop. Right. So I went through personal foreclosure. I lost all my cars, bankruptcy. I didn't go to bankruptcy, but I lost everything. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when I was released, I'm getting at my aha moment. This might sound like another failure moment, but it isn't. This is just leading up to an aha moment. This is actually not a failure moment at all. This is a realization moment. Right. This is the realization that any semblance of success that you might have is only that. Okay, unless you have a true plan B. Okay, what you have right now is a joke. Okay, so they let me go. And when I got out, my wife said to me, she goes, "Wow, if it wasn't for the residual income we were getting from your network marketing business," because I had started earlier, right, part-time in a different industry, in a different company, I would have had to leave medical school. Right. And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, those $500 or $600 we were getting every month put me right at an even par with what I needed to, because of everything, because we lost the house and everything. She lost her student loans."
Wow.
You see, so it was a really bad domino effect. It just, I lost the job, I lost the income. My company wouldn't back me up because they don't have to, right? Nothing like that. Mm-hmm. They don't have any. There's no loyalty.
No obligation.
I gave them 15 years. There was no loyalty there. They lost the cars. She wasn't able to re-up for her student loans because now her credit, when she had a house that was repossessed and her cars that were repossessed, and she has a house in foreclosure. So all that was really horrible for her, and she had no money for school. So my parents helped. Her parents helped. To a tune of about $80,000. Mm-hmm. And and that residual income kept her going, and that's why I tell people usually that are in this industry, I'm like, $300 to $500 can make a difference in somebody's life,
sure can.
And it did that. So that was my aha moment, that the industry that I needed to be in was in network marketing, and that everything that I did from that moment on was to increase the amount of residual income that I had, so that I would never have to worry about anything again, that it would always be taken care of by some type of residual income.
Wow. Socrates, that is just the most amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I truly am a huge proponent for network marketing. When you said, an extra $300 or $500 a month, is a big thing. To some people, they may see that as being very small. But when you get into a situation like what you experienced, or something else, but everybody's going to have that time in their life where residual income would come in handy. And so,
I'm sorry for cutting you off here. Let's think about that statement. You said that $300 to $500 may seem very small. Okay, $500. Let's take the lower number. Let's take $300, right? Mm-hmm. So $300 times 12. Okay.
Yep.
What do we have there?
That's. I wasn't the best at math.
$3,600.
Yeah.
$3,600, right? So, can $3,600 in a year pay off a debt?
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, that's most people have about $3,600 on their credit card.
That's true.
Right? But if you're paying the minimal on that credit card, you can go 5, 10, 15 years and not pay it off. Okay? Right. So those $300 can pay off that credit card. Those $300 can put your child into an extracurricular activity after school. Mm-hmm. Those $300 can move you into a different apartment with an extra bedroom. Right. Okay? Those $300 can get you into a car.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, those $300 can, and the list goes on,
goes on and on, right.
and on. 90% of the American population it would be a godsend for $300, and that's what pisses me off. Okay, about the dark side, mm-hmm. right? The Sith side.
I know what you mean.
Of this industry, when people come up to you and say, "Hey, you have the ability to make $10,000. Come join me today," because you do, but
not everybody's going to do.
90% of the people aren't going to put the effort, okay, and the work that's going to take for you to make those $10,000 a month. So I think it's a bunch of BS, baloney, right? For you to dangle that carrot in front of somebody. Where if you were honest and open and said, look, listen, it doesn't matter. And guys, I'm not pushing my industry. I mean, my company or anything like that. That's why I've invented genetic. Okay, right. Any company, all right, that you start off with, okay, has systems in place for you to move through a hierarchy within the company. Right. Step 1. Get your stuff paid for. All right. If you love the company you're with, you want to use their products. So get your stuff paid for. Mm-hmm. Okay. Step 2, make your first $200 or $300 a month. Once you get that, then you might be fine there. Okay. Or you might wake up one morning and say, wow, if I was able to make that, maybe I can replace my, my full-time job with mm-hmm. that. And if you work hard and if you learn and you educate yourself and you go through personal development, you'll realize that what you have embarked on is a industry that is tied to a personal development with a compensation plan.
Right. I'm so glad you expounded on that, because I have a network marketing background myself, as I mentioned before, and I always believe what you said about not overselling and really just being honest with people, because in all these companies you can make an enormous amount of money. However, not everybody's going to put in that amount of work to get there, but you can still do just even the minimum and still make $300 to $500 a month. That means so much to a family's income. I talk to so many people that say, if I just had an extra $200 or an extra $300 or $500, it makes all the difference in the world. It's so true.
Absolutely.
So network marketers really should focus on that. Everything else above that is extra.
Yeah, if you want to blow up your network, listener, if you're a network marketer and you want to blow up your business, focus on the 90%. Mm-hmm. Okay, don't try to get the big player. Don't try to get the guy that's going to be your top earner. Okay, you know why? Because there's only 3% of people out there that want to be top earners.
That's true.
So would you rather spend your time looking for one person that out of that 3%, or you rather spend your time talking to 90% of the population that really could use it, the $200 or $300 or $400 a month?
Right. That's true.
Wake up.
That's true serving. That's really when you start to have that serving heart and serving mentality.
Well, that's the price you pay, right? The price that you pay, okay, the rent that you pay to take up space on this earth is servitude, okay? That is it, all right? So that, if there's one thing that you get out of this interview today, the listener, is that is your rent. The rent that you're paying today is providing service to somebody.
Wow, powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Socrates. So transparent today, with your journey and so generous with your time. So we say thank you.
Just I just enjoy talking to you. I think you're great. You're full of life and energy, and the good things coming for you, girl.
Thank you. I receive that.
Good things coming.
Thank you.
Good things coming for you.
I'm so happy that we're connected. So I'm looking forward to staying connected with you and growing with you as well.
Psst. Hey, you, entrepreneur, come here. Executive, come here. Entertainer, come here. Boom! That's right. I just blew you away with Success Stalkers with Ioana, Garrett, and me, Socrates Zayas.
That was hot. I love you. You are awesome.
Thank you for listening to Socrates Zayas on SocTalks. Please visit us at SocTalks.com for a chance to win a $50 gift card. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Give us a great review and Socrates will give you a personal shout out on the very next show. Boom.